Welcome back to Law in the Neighborhood, your go-to legal talk show where you get to dissect legal intricacies for the common Mwananchi. This is Legal Bulletin, where we get to give you an emerging area of law. And today, tunaongelea kitu very, I don't want to call it controversial, but yeah. You know, arms of governments, Nyiha, are so critical. When we did our constitutional law, we did something called separation of power. And separation of power entails the three arms of government working so separate: the judiciary, executive, and the legislature. Now, today we have judiciary in trouble, especially the judiciary, the Supreme Court President, CJ Martha Koome. She has been facing backlash. Now, last year, there's a team of veteran lawyers who have been fighting to have her ousted out of the office. We have Nelson Harvey, Abdul Nasir and stuff. So ukiangalia Apple X, they've been perpetuating a narrative called the Jurispesa, where they call the judiciary Jurispesa. Now, I believe we had a lecture last year with DCJ, Philomena Mwilu, and someone, I think one of the students, stood up and he was so confident and he asked her, what is your take on people's confidence when it comes to judiciary? And she said, she's so categorical and she's clear. So people may not agree and people may say, may have opinions and stuff, but this is what she said. If someone may claim there's corruption against a judge or something, evidence is the best way to go. So my question was, I think I got this question after she had left. My question was, but what if these people are so clever to make sure that they're not caught, or rather the evidence, as in unasingelea line ya wakardinali tunapiga sin tunaiacha ikiwa clean. What if that is what happens?
I think even by virtue of them being lawyers, they know that finding a loophole in a matter can let you go. By the way, this loophole, you should be very careful because they can either you can be liable for a lot if you don't be keen, or you can escape with a lot and fail to take accountability with account of a tiny loophole. Now, assuming the experts in the law,
you've been doing this, Nyiha, for almost 20 years.
Huyo mtu anajua hapa hakuna kesi. You know, because basically what she said, evidence is the best way to go. Alikuwa zileza, we see what you're implying, and it's very actually it does make sense in layman language, but it never stand in a court of law. Basically, that was her answer. Let me just translate it.
And we as law students to quote napata what she was saying. I know maybe other lay people, ama other people in the other field, they're like, what's happening and stuff. But that's the fact.
That's the fact.
You'll still go to a court of law and say, yeah, he was bribed and stuff. But if you cannot really show the court, this is what happened, this is what transpired, then it won't stand. It won't stand. But today's case, so this group of veteran lawyers, they actually filed a case into Judicial Service Commission. So Judicial Service Commission, it's a body that disciplines the judges and all other people who work under judiciary. So when they have disciplinary issues, they face the board, the tribunal, and they have to answer. So they had sued them huko. So you can't say me sued, but they had, taken them the matter there. Yeah. So the High Court today extended the hearing of that case at Judicial Service Commission. Ili extend, reason best known to them. And it may spike so many reactions from those lawyers when you're mesema, we're so done with this. It's time to clear Jurispesa in our country. As in, we need just to clear road in the judiciary. So there was so much vexed by that decision to extend that order. So judges who I think most of judiciary, that is
judges.
Yeah.
There's Lenaola,
Martha Koome.
William. There's Oko is called.
Yeah. Do you have the list? Yeah, I have the list. There's Smokin Wanjala, William Aoko, Njoki Ndung'u, Isaac Leonella.
And now Martha Koome. There are 5 of them.
5 out of 7 who are supposed to face Judicial Service Commission. Nyiha, what is your take about the whole thing?
I think when I was reading through like what the event, what has been going through, there is a question that was raised by Ahmed Nasir that was very valid. The discretionary extent of the powers of the Chief Justice, because remember, she's the one who's choosing the judges who decided the matter today in the High Court.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know. She's the one who chose.
Yes.
Wait, have you ever had...
Uliza, how... Where ukijua matter inahiariwa against out of human nature.
I thought she's supposed to recuse herself because of conflict of interest.
That is what is supposed to happen, but I think it also shows the gap that is there regarding the framework. I guess hawajaifikiria this situation.
I didn't know.
They didn't think the corruption, should I call it corruption, will extend to this particular point, and you add the Chief Justice. Literally, you're supposed to be the perpetrator of all justice and upholding the values and principles of the judiciary and the rule of law. Na sasa wewe ndo uko hapo una face.
Unajua si kujua hiyo.
It's a very sad state of affairs. But either way, that was a very valid question.
Yeah.
The extent to which the powers of the Chief Justice, that's now, that upon inafikanga tunasema that is a matter of discretion. The court has discretion.
Its own discretion,
The Chief Justice has their own discretion. And it can be, the truth is, it can also be abused.
Yeah, and it can be detrimental.
It's a very vague statement, and it's a very vague state of affairs. It's leaving a gap for that abuse and misinterpretation of the law. Because kama, for example, taking that scenario, you're the one who has chosen.
Na wendo kesi na fei.
Na kesi iko against wewe.
Actually, you see, okay, let's say there's a lacuna in the law. There's a gap in the law that does not provide for that. However, don't you feel it's just common sense to know that, you remember, let me take you to back last year when we had the impeachment process. Then you saw DCJ who chose the panel to hear the former DP's case, which was done at night. I thought DCJ is not on that list. I thought she was at least the one to at least come forward and say, this is the panel that will hear that case. At least, just at least. But now having, wanasemanga, kienda kotini, kuna hiyo msemo, sijui kotini kanga ndio sijui nini kuna kwanga na hiyo msemo.
But this is just digressing, but sijui kama umeona hii beef yenye Gen Z wako nayo na wahenga pale TikTok.
Mbona?
There is a person who is dedicated to undo everything wahengas have been saying.
What are they doing?
For example, anasema, the way there is this saying, mkono mtupu haurambwi. Yeye analamba yake mtupu. Anauliza wahenga, mlikuwa mnasema nini? Anaenda pale kwa shamba, anapata jembe 2, anachagua moja na anaanza kulima.
Anauliza
wahenga, at this point I've lost faith in wahenga mlikuwa mnasema nini?
I feel like he's telling wahenga, your methali are not flexible, they are not suitable for this.
They're not adapted for this particular century. We need a new set of remember wahenga, we are here to ni trademark tutafanya nini hizo
methali zao.
Methali zenu
hiyo tunaweza sema ni invention hiyo. Okay, si invention.
No, it's a copyright, because like it's a literary work. It will require a copyright.
So inafadzi, but sasa unajua
kasi utaandika mingi
but hatuwezi ziwekea copyright juu maybe mhenga moja alikuwa amekaa Kiambu, mwingine alikuwa amekaa Thika, mwingine alikuwa, sasa wote tumezicombine methali zao, wata anaje from that.
Hiyo mambo tutajua tukifika hapo, lakini we need new hangers. But anyway, from that we see that there needs I don't know, that's like just basic. It raises a question actually. It raises a question against like the integrity of the judicial system is being doubted. Because this is just basic. Even for common Mwananchi, hapo is where you first wash your hands. Someone who is in yourself. That particular matter should recuse themselves. So unaona kama, for example, these lawyers, they are adi people, you know, this is also a matter of controversy. And believe it or not, this has something to do with political affiliation.
I feel like there's political forces.
This is actually a political thing. This is just for
formalities.
Yeah, formality. This is just a formality. This thing is basically political, because I've been seeing a lot of people, Pale X also, raising the issue of state capture. This is where
hapo ndo nilikuwa nikuulize swali Nyiha, before we just go, sorry for cutting you short. But the fact that si tumesema tu separation of power, but the fact that I don't want to call it tyrannical, I don't want to call it despotic, I don't want to refer to it as dictatorship, but you just having the power to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. Like if I decide you're not doing whatever I want, as in I'm not loyal to you, so you're just ousted. That as in but the moment you're not doing what I want, upon ndo tuna cross paths, but you're not seeing the fact that mimi I'm holding a state organ which is supposed to be independent, maverick.
They're also not extremely independent, they're interdependent. That comes with the establishment of the checks and balances. But like that issue of state capture, where one particular arm of government is seen
wants to meddle
in everyone's businesses. Because even I can remember during that particular talk we had with the DCJ, she was talking about the judiciary ruling against many decisions that have been brought forward, which were suggested somewhat by the executive. Yes, you have ruled against them, but we want to see that particular implementation. Let us see people taking accountability for breaking the law.
I think I was asking someone something about, you know, a court may make an order against executive, but enforcing. You remember, I don't know if you were in our civil procedure class when our lecturer was saying it is so hard to enforce against a government. But what's the problem, man? Like, why can't we just have a country that obeys the law? An executive that knows we've done wrong, and then it accepts the court has done this. Because the court is there to interpret the law that is made by the parliament. And the executive, it's there to implement. So if you've actually implemented the law in the wrong way, and then the judiciary comes in and interprets and says, you're supposed to follow this and this and this and this, but you decide to go. Let me give you an example, another example. But we know it's politically affiliated. Last week, a few weeks ago, the court ruled the majority party in parliament was the Azimio. The speaker, the next they went ahead and said no, the majority party, it's Kenya Kwanza coalition. And I'm pursued again, and I'm just like, what's happening?
Why will you even do that? It's like it's even evident. I remember us dealing with that case where some people had switched parties without following the lawful procedure. And I think it's a very sad state of affairs, which brings me back to politics. Hata kama sitakangi kwenda hapo,
lazima ikuje, lazima juu ina meddle into every business, to be honest.
Seeing this as our viewer, 2027 is
her default statement in every episode.
Remember to vote. Tafadhali. This is a matter of, it affects, imagine, believe it or not, it affects all of us. See, we are here now, some people can't even join for tertiary education because
it's
the court
so
ruled
painful,
against the university
funding model.
The funding model. Sina ndio tunatumia. Personally, I'm self-sponsored. I shouldn't be, but like
you know, hapo kwa funding model, I feel like it has never made sense ever since it was implemented. Do you know why? Like, why will you say hapo tu kidogo tu dakika tu moja hapo kwa funding model? I feel like it's so bad, it's so wrong, the fact that you're trying to privatize students by saying the students who are in private universities, you assume wanajiweza. It's so wrong, because Kenya cannot do without private institutions.
Yeah.
There are only 30 private public universities, and there are only 64 universities, I think 64, 68 universities in Kenya. So meaning, if you have 30, the remaining universities, they are private universities. And you assuming the students who join these private universities, they are capable of doing that on their own. It's so wrong.
I think even the issue is not even only in private universities. The issue also came the categorization of people into their financial groups. Also, like, where is this money going from? Mnatenga mabilioni 2000 kuna 2000 billions. What are we even saying? Unajamadi unapoteza maneno. Like, literally, money is being set aside. And you know, for a university to be enrolled on CUSP, unajua si courses zote pia offered here that ziko kwa CUSP. There's usually an agreement they have, because the government is supposed to pay some sort of subsidy, so that you pay a certain amount. So the university, we have the university funding model, we have the nisha money, shifa money, inaitwa nini. It's very sad. You see people going to hospital, you've already paid the money and you're being told you have to pay again.
Yeah, so
it's a very sad state of affairs. It raises the question. This is very controversial, by the way, but it's something that has to be addressed. It raises the question, how are the arms of governments upholding their integrity of being separated powers?
Yeah.
And how is each arm of government enforcing its imposed duty?
Yeah. But apa, to be specific, nauliza tu, I didn't know about CJ appointing the panel. It is something, let our viewers give us their feedback. Yeah, make sure una comment hapo, unatupea views zako about the whatever discussion tumekuwa nayo hapa. Tutaona vile CJ, not CJ per se, but yeah, Judicial Service Commission will conduct that. We'll be following it up. We'll update you tukipata that nini. But leo tunauliza, what do you think about the state capture? What do you think about judiciary being, manipulated by the executive? We could have said more about this, but we'll be coming back with the fun fact of law, which is legal curiosity. Stay tuned. This is Law in the Neighborhood.